Ahoy there, Lorcana fans. Welcome back to the 10th episode. We made it to double digits of local lore. This is the podcast for Lorcana players who believe the best games happen in their own backyard. I am Ian, and with me is my lovely girlfriend, Lindsay. We have a fun episode here as we discuss, we put our final ribbon on Set Champ season. We will, of course, dive heavily into the Lorcana dev stream and the cards that they told us this week would not be being reprinted, and their justifications for why those cards are being passed up in favor of other cards. So some interesting decisions on their side, and we're excited to talk about some of those debates that have been hotly raging around the community. And then finally, we'll close the episode. And so fast forward now if you want to see these. But we'll be closing the episode with set 9 deck lists. We've picked out 4 deck lists that I have personally been messing with. 3 of which I've had quite a bit of success with, and the other one is still new and exciting because it's a lot of cards that haven't come out yet. So anyways, Lindsay, let's start off like we always do with an icebreaker.
Yeah.
So the majority of Fabled reprints have been announced. I think we're waiting on like 2 left at time of recording. So I wanted to ask you, kind of looking back at this whole wild reprint announcement season, what is your favorite card that is being reprinted, and what is your least favorite card that is being reprinted? That can mean a card that's really annoying and you hate it. It could be a card that is, it's just bad, so you're like, I wish it hadn't been reprinted. Like, I don't take it in whatever direction you want to take it.
It's tough. It feels like there's a lot that's getting reprinted that is,
maybe a question mark.
Maybe he couldn't just stay in the bulk bin box. So
mayhaps.
So there's plenty of that. As far as my favorite that's been announced, it's reprinting. I'm obviously really thrilled about Hades, but that's a no-brainer. It's the one that I was going into hoping that it'd get reprinted.
It's a signature card.
I think it's Bell, the mystic sorcerer who they announced today has a enchanted.
Yes, it's so pretty.
Pretty thrilled. I've always been a big fan of that card. Yeah. I think that it's funny because I wasn't skeptical of her at first. I couldn't quite make her work. Now I'm a pro.
Yeah,
I know exactly. I'm hooked.
Yes.
Love moving that damage around. So I think it's a great card. I'm thrilled to see it come back into the game. My least favorite? It's a tough choice. There's a lot of the vanilla cards that I'm just okay.
Just kind of on.
I think the 2 that I'm the least excited about getting reprinted, they're both in green.
Okay.
One of them is probably less fair than the others.
Okay, all right.
So one that I'm the least excited to see reprinted is Sudden Chill. I don't think it will be nearly as toxic as it felt in the past.
No, yeah.
Because we don't have the Prince John and we don't have the crazy discard. But
trauma.
It's just the trauma. Yeah. The trauma, you're like, I wish it could just go away. But I do think, like we have talked before, hand disruption is an important piece of the game. So, but actually the one that I'm probably least excited is Under the Sea. So I think if we're getting rid of all the board wipes, we get rid of all the board wipes.
Oh boy.
So now, as we'll talk later, Emerald is the only color that has a board wipe. Well, it has 1.5 board wipes.
1.5 board wipes. Yeah, we'll bring that up in a minute.
So anyway, what about you? What are you most excited about? What are you least excited about?
Yeah, so the card I'm most excited about is an Emerald card that I really wanted to see because I've used it since literally set 1.
I know this.
It's my favorite non-character in the game, and that's Mother Knows Best.
Yeah.
Now, it's tough because I love Be Prepared, and I love Friends on the Other Side, and I would have loved to have seen those cards come back. But Mother Knows Best is a weird one for me because my very first deck, back when you couldn't find first chapter cards, was Emerald Amethyst, Evasive Aggro, and Mother Knows Best was the card that I was super high on for forever, and I was winning games off of bouncing things back to hand just for that tempo advantage to be able to quest out and keep pressuring. It was a great card. It's been a great card. It's been used in tempo decks. It's been used in the Baja Blast control decks. I'm really happy to see that come back. For cards that I don't...
Surprised it wasn't Ursula Deceiver.
So
You're a big fan of that card.
I am a big fan of that card for
so
what it provides. So much that he got
tagged in our local channel when they announced the reprint.
Yeah. So when Ursula Deceiver got announced, somebody the first person to post that into our local area thing just tagged me in it. And I'm like, I know, I get it. I play a lot of Ursula Deceiver. Thank you. It was pretty funny. I think that's a good card to have in the game, just in general. I think it's less about it being a favorite card. It's more about it being, in my opinion, like essential for the health of the game. Yeah. I think the card I'm least excited about, like I could pick some vanilla, like boring cards, like Sergeant Tibbs and things like that. That's just like that just feels like a bummer.
Didn't get play before. Is it really going to get play now?
Won't get play now. But no, I think the cards that I'm like I look at the most and I kind of get frustrated about are some of the cards that are like they're like taking up rare spots, or they're taking up like very like action spots that are like probably not going to see play. And more importantly, they could have gone to things that were going to be more impactful, even if they are less like things. So I'm looking at things like in Steel, the Mob Song, which who knows? Maybe we're so desperate for removal that we'll play a 10-cost uninkable Sing Together.
Yeah.
I just doubt it. And so I'm like, okay, Mob Song took up a slot there. That could have been Smash. That could have been Babooms, It didn't need to be a song. It could have just been an inkable action for basic removal, and that would have been really nice. I look at things like the Trumpeter Mickey Mouse, and I'm like, we already have Inspirational Warrior, Inspirational Hero, or whatever.
Yeah.
We didn't
Did we really need him to
probably
come back?
didn't need that. And so and you can look at those in every single color. You can look at these cards and be like, oh, really? This is what it is? Oh man, like that's taking up a one of our precious slots for these colors. And that's just a little bit of a bummer. But I think those two, the Steel ones, despite me not being a Steel player, like I think Steel is my least played color maybe.
Yeah.
But like the fact that two of the key slots were being taken up by that is just a little bit of a bummer. So I think those are probably my least favorite. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, why don't we? Yeah, I was gonna see if you wanted to wait.
Yeah, it's a good transition. It was far enough away when we finished that part.
Yeah.
I hate that thing.
I know. He'll probably come back around, but...
It's fine.
It's all right. Hopefully he'll come back at a time when we can pause again.
Yeah.
So now that we've broken the ice, let's go ahead and get to our set champs recap. So I didn't play it in as many set champs after our last video, so let's hear straight out of the horse's mouth. Our winner. Somebody's got a champion mat over there. So
I'm so thrilled.
I know. There was a lot of, this might not be my season.
I think I thought the playmat streak would break.
I mean, it has to eventually.
It has to eventually. I've emotionally accepted that. I think 2 sets ago, I had not emotionally accepted that.
Same.
I have now emotionally accepted that the playmat streak probably will break at some point.
Yep.
But it was not this set, thankfully. Yeah.
So why don't you tell us about what you played? You spent a lot of time on that deck.
Yes.
And I would like to remind you that I had to talk you off the ledge after the first set champs.
You did. It's true. So, it is true.
I told him, I was like, it's not time yet. It's like we've talked before. Sometimes you have to have a gut check of like, when is it time to switch decks?
So that's why you should play with a team, not just necessarily like a hardcore team, but like a group. Like that's why you have a group to like tell you, I know that you think Ruby Sapphire is such a good deck, but this Emerald Amethyst deck is great and you're playing it well. Like literally Lindsay had to give me a hype up speech before last weekend. And it was like, it was funny because we had put all this work into it. Mm-hmm. If you're interested in the list we played, you can see that in a separate video that we did. Gibby and I talked about our list. So the Emerald Amethyst deck did really well. We put a lot of work into it. I felt really good about it. I liked its matchups. It just didn't have matchups for the most part that you blow out. And some of the games were taking a while, right? So I was a little worried and nervous, and I'm like, I really want to. Best of 3 format. And I did draw a match the previous weekend, and it really threw me off my game. Now, I did still make top cut, but from then on, I'm just constantly monitoring the clock, very stressful. So I was like, hey, maybe I switch it up. But you, thankfully, convinced me to trust my own testing. Like, that's sometimes a thing. Like, you have to trust your own like, you have to trust your own information. Like, I tested it. I believed in it. I just started second guessing myself, you know? And so that deck did fantastic for everybody who used it. And actually, in the finals, I want to shout out our beloved Sean, owner of the Unplugged Games Cafe. He's the one that hosts us every single week. He is a player in our weekly league because he loves it so much. And he took a version of that deck, and we worked on it together for a lot of the season as well. And the two of us ended up facing each other in the finals. Yeah. It was beautiful. It was so fun.
On his birthday.
On his birthday. Happy birthday, Sean. Everybody wish Sean a happy birthday in the comments. Yep. Anyways, it was awesome and a really fun experience. It was also cool to, like, it's cool to, like, have worked on this deck and kind of proliferated it within your kind of testing group and other people to pick it up. And then to face it in the finals, to sort of be that final validator of like, yes, this was a great deck. We did a good job with it. We understood the meta both at large and locally, and were able to capitalize. And so obviously I won the mirror match, but it was a really fun finals match against one of your friends, right? Very, very cool. So, I don't want to go too deep into the matchup spreads, or I don't want to go too deep in the deck list, because you can see a lot of that stuff in the video. But it was really satisfying. I'm thrilled. I think that I'm going to be even more excited for next set champs because it's a dragon. And I want a dragon playmat. I know you want a dragon playmat. We're going to be working hard for the dragon playmat, so watch out. When it gets closer to next set champs, I'm sure we'll do a lot more set champs related content. But for now, we're on to bigger and better and newer things.
Yeah, for sure. We're headed to Milwaukee in... It's funny, the email came out and it said next month, and I was like, it's not next month, we have 2 months.
That's right.
We're headed to Milwaukee at the end of October, so we're really looking forward to that. I think it'll be really interesting. It'll be the next big competitive event, because it'll happen before set champs.
Yep.
And so, it'll be obviously the first big event post. I think there'll probably be some qualifiers and stuff.
There will be some
events that we'll see some lists pop up, but it'll be the first really big event post rotation in this season 2 of tournaments. So we're thrilled that we get to go. We're thrilled to get to be a part of it, and we got a lot of work ahead of us. We're testing hard.
We are already our first testing session in the Fabled format happened this week. It was a lot of fun. But very excited for Milwaukee, and we can't wait to tell you all about it. And I'm sure we'll have a whole episode on the story of how that goes.
So But why don't we go ahead and turn it over to the Lorcana dev stream that happened this week? I think that's the big news. I didn't have a chance to watch it live, but I know you watched a little bit more of it. Obviously, I've seen the news since.
Yes.
And so I have lots of thoughts on it all. But I think it'd be great to talk through. We got some confirmation on what's not getting reprinted, which I thought was really interesting. I mean, we only had a few more spots left.
Yes.
So it was interesting to get that feedback, but it was great to hear why.
Right, and so I think that's an important thing for us when we're evaluating that, seeing some of these beloved, powerful cards, staples of the metagame going. I think it's important to hear out the devs on why they decided not to reprint them. Now, some of them I think we all kind of expected not to come back. Some of them we were very surprised at, and I kind of want to take the time to do that. So we're going to go through it sort of color by color. So to start, the Amber cards, Rapunzel and Ariel not coming back to the game. The devs said that they felt that Ariel made things too consistent for song decks, and considering that songs are a really game warping effect because it gives you free stuff, basically. They felt that having songs be consistent was limiting their design space for what they could do with future songs. And actually that makes sense, because you can kind of see that they really faded songs over the last the back half of this previous full 8, rotation set. So like 5 through 8 really didn't see a ton of great songs come out. And I think that was because of Ariel.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of interesting to see now with the new Fabled cards how they're like bringing some songs back in, and I think that there's going to be some really cool mechanics with songs coming. Obviously, you got the singer keyword on some of the Ruby cards now, which is new to the game.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be really interesting. I, like, on the one hand, could see the argument for Ariel being fair, but I really appreciated the devs' perspective on, like, it made it a little too consistent. And yeah.
Well, when you're getting such free value out of these things, like, it was anchoring every deck that Amber had was like turning into a song deck. A lot of times non-aggro decks were like, well, this would just be better if you put some songs in Ariel in.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that that's fair. Rapunzel, they kind of noted, was restricting design space around placing damage on characters and also around taking trades across multiple turns.
Yes.
So like you could never leave damage on characters against an Amber deck. And it was also something where like spreading damage into play through effects like Tinkerbell, Grab Your Sword, like those card effects basically saw no play in the latter half of the last the last year. They saw almost no play, and that's because leaving damage in play, spreading damage around, just set up free card draw.
Right.
And while it was skill expressive, it definitely limited what cards could be good.
Yeah.
Well,
and it goes back to that consistency of like just a consistently having damage on your characters to remove. So I'm sure there's people that disagree, but I think that it's a
fair point.
It's a fair point as to like why they would not reprint those cards. Yeah.
So then for Amethyst, they kind of specifically highlight, and we now know that it seems none of the MIM
bounce package.
Bounce package.
Besides the new ones that have been printed.
Correct. Other than things in set 5 onwards, I think is a turtle Merlin, and I think an elephant mem, and then a rhino mem, which is not very good. And Duel Link.
Yeah.
So besides those,
no dragon. Sad day. We all thought the dragon. I'm just kidding.
If the Mim dragon came back, I wouldn't hate it. So like
Blurple control.
That's right. They're just gonna put big evasive 4-questers out. Yeah. So I mean, you could have just honestly put Radigan out now.
That's true.
That's probably just better. So Mim, Fox, and Merlin Goat were the ones they specifically highlighted, and the thought process there was simply, according to them, they felt that Goat and Fox were just too present. They were appearing in almost all Amethyst decks across all color combinations, across all strategies, aggro, control, etc. So they were too ubiquitous. Specifically, Goat, they mentioned they felt like it lacked viable counterplay because you get the lore no matter how it leaves play.
Yeah. And even Baloo, who gets like you can figure ways around it versus like Goat doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I can understand that. I mean, even when it came out, everyone was like, "Whoa, okay, wow." But I think their point is there's now so many more ways to gain lore from card effects instead of from questing that it's maybe not needed for Reach. I think I'm fine with that. Goat was always a card that I like. You play it because it's good, but it's not something that's like something that's becoming a really fun element.
Well, yeah, because not only does it have, I mean, like, it's an auto-include in Amethyst decks, in almost every single Amethyst deck, because it's a great card. It's also a 4/3 body.
Yeah.
Like, he's also, like, it's not, I mean, he can help you clear a library or castle, whatever. It's I think he also hits hard.
Kills a daisy. Yep.
So, anyway, I think that, like,
I am bummed to see Fox go because I always liked Fox's, and I think Fox without some of the like Merlin stuff would still be an okay card. I think they were just looking. This one was one that I think they just want to refresh.
Yeah.
Like they just want things to feel fresh. I'm gonna miss Fox a lot as an Amethyst main, especially somebody that loved bouncing rabbits. I think this one could have stayed. Or we could have seen Snake. I think Snake would have been okay too.
I think Snake would have been better.
Yeah.
I love Fox, obviously. Like when I was looking at switching up Blurple, I was like, I'm not I can't get rid of my emotional support fox. Yeah. But I think
my emotional support fox, yeah.
I think, because I think the fox is very fair, like it is nice, it's very strong that you have this like, and you're losing crab, but it has a downside, you're losing tempo. So I do think, and like it is only a 3 defense, so like, but anyway, I
think if anything, crab might be stronger than fox. Or rather in a post metagame, like in a metagame post-rotation, I think crab might, if you eliminate all the Merlin, rabbits and goats and whatnot, I think I could make the argument that crab actually warps the way board trading takes place more than a fox would.
I can
you know what I mean? Like, because you can basically get his effect even without bouncing a crab, you would get his effect twice because you get it on play and you can suicide bomb him into something and get the +3 somewhere else. And like that was, that's what made him. I feel like you could make the argument that crab was just as ubiquitous and maybe they seem to be keeping it to just 2 cards for just ease of conversation. But I'm bummed to see them go. I understand it because they're like, we want to see purple do something else.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that this was specifically like, when they talked about these, they were like, these are not returning in Fabled or likely ever. Like, they wanted to emotionally prepare people that, like, because, there's some cards that we had hoped will get returned that might get reprinted or might get reskinned or might whatever. And so I think that's where I feel disappointed. You're like, there's a universe in which, like, but I think from the perspective of, like, they're in every deck and we want people to get creative with deck building and we, like...
I think in my opinion, I view self-bounce cards as now part of Amethyst's identity. Yeah. And it's a bummer to lose that.
Yeah.
You play
green, you can bounce your own cards.
I can play elephant, I suppose. I think that Snake should have been reprinted, but that's neither here nor there.
It might. They didn't say it was never returning.
Well, I don't think they officially said these are never returning. Okay. I think it's more that they're like, these were conscious, intentional decisions.
I work in communications. Never say never.
Never say never, right? So yeah, that is, that's what we're looking at here. So, I want to next look at Emerald. Mm-hmm. This one should be fast. They said Diablo and Prince John.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Bye. Thanks.
They said they were like, these were 2 of the most controversial cards we ever printed.
At least they know what they did.
They can create negative experience for players. Prince John had almost no counterplay due to ward and a static ability, something the team are trying to move away from. We've noticed that.
Yeah.
And we approve.
Yeah.
It's something that became very obvious when they stopped printing ward characters with static abilities and they stopped giving static ability characters ward and sometimes they stopped giving it evasive.
Yeah.
And it's like they're like, if you want a really powerful like static ability, it needs to be vulnerable in some way, shape, or form. And so that's a great thing. Diablo, of course, was one that while I don't necessarily think at the end of rotation was that big of a problem, there was enough counterplay.
Agreed.
It definitely created blowout games.
Yeah.
And I think it also was just one that like people were traumatized by.
I think if Diablo wasn't shiftable, I think that he would have been a totally fair card.
I think
because he has easy like there are so many easy answers. By the time you get to turn
3/4, there's
like
answers.
There is, you can respond. So like,
as somebody that just want to play him out with Diablo, I can fully admit shifting Diablo makes the games a whole heck of a lot easier.
Yes.
I think that post-rotation environment with everything scaled back, that would be way too much card draw power. So like I
definitely agree with that.
Considering everything else, it probably needed to go. So yeah, these 2, sayonara.
Bye. Don't let the door hit you.
That's right. Now let's talk. I'm actually going to skip Ruby and circle back. Let's talk Sapphire.
Too soon? You're not ready to talk about Ruby?
I'm not ready. Sapphire. So they confirmed Popsicle and Fishbone Quill gone.
Fishbone Quill I'm not going to miss. Popsicle, personally, I am going to miss.
It's a homer pick for you.
But it's also at the same time, like for the health of the game, like we've also, I've also been on the receiving end of watching somebody carb bag and recycle. Like there is also, and
the Tamatoa is still in the format.
Correct. And I think it goes back to what they were saying. It is clear that they are conscious of the fact that anything that is free in this game can get abused very quickly.
Yep.
And I think that Popsicle helped facilitate free things like Bell, and it also it became this draw engine with Tamatoa, and I know there's other items that might not be coming back that maybe have tampered that, but still, I think I wouldn't be surprised if we get some form of a nerfed Popsicle in the future. But
interesting the what they said about it, right? The team wanted to be more cautious when creating cheap items that draw cards, as they can create powerful engines. Duh. Now, I think one could make the argument that is draw engines are not in and of themselves a problem. The problem is when the draw engines don't have enough counterplay.
Yeah.
Which has always been the thing with items, because they cannot be challenged.
Yes.
They don't have health, so you can't deal damage with them with actions or anything.
Yeah.
Like, unlike locations, which if anything have proven often weak because of how easy they are to deal with and they don't hit back. Popsicles and items, are really hard to deal with, and you have to play specific cards that say banish an item, and those cards are often not worth running for other matchups, and it forces you to run silver bullets in your deck building that are usually less good against the wider field, because you either run an item deck or usually run very few to no items otherwise. And so I think that's part of the problem, is that relationship there. Fishbone Quill, it's funny, I think they threw Fishbone Quill in to have a second card on the thing when they showed it off, because
I'm not gonna miss Fishbone Quill.
I don't actually think Fishbone Quill is that much
I don't think it's that bad, though.
Fishbone Quill was a big problem when wheel decks were really strong and hard to counter, because you'd wheel into a hand, you'd throw it all back in the ink, and then you'd wheel again. And with that gone, I don't think that there is...
Well, and when we had the Hiram that was able to draw so many cards back.
You're just feeding your inkwell. They even said Fishbone Quill, on the other hand, felt to not be necessary with the likes of Sail the Azurite Sea and Tipo in the metagame. And I'm like, that's true.
Well, and
we saw a lot less of it.
They brought back Pooh having a thing, who was early Fishbone Quill.
It's really hard to not think of it as Pooh having a Pooh. I've had that thought multiple times.
I remember early games playing against you, playing that card.
Yeah.
But I remember, he was kind of a staple in some of the early Sapphire because he was a Fishbone Quill.
He was dabbled with at the very minimum.
Yeah.
Often he was paired with
He was
Detective
in your Grandpappy deck.
Yeah. Well, and so him, and he was also a cheap alternative for Quill when Quills were like $13.
I like him. I like the idea of him as a Quill too, because it goes back to he's a character, you can remove it.
Right.
So you'll get his effect probably once, maybe twice if you're lucky, but you aren't gonna sit there and every single turn just
without it being
away.
Messed with. Yeah, I think that's the other thing too, though. I think the problem that I have with this, I'm glad Popsicle's gone, for what it's worth.
Yeah.
But I think it is a Band-Aid over the problem of items, in my opinion, the design problem. I think Lorcana has very few design problems. I think largely it's a very thoughtful, balanced game mechanics that feel largely interactive, but items are the one thing where in other games, oftentimes items are attachments. You put it on a character, when that character goes away, then those items go away. And in this game, they're more I think artifacts in Magic. I'm not a Magic player. Don't at me. But they just sit around and need specific things to remove them.
Yeah.
Right? But the problem is that there's all of this amazing item support package, but the items, without a card draw engine, the items are a waste of your deck space.
Yeah.
Because it's they're not doing enough. They're not powerful enough for their cost. If there were really powerful 4 or 5 cost items, right, that didn't, I'm thinking, remember the Steel Chromicon? It's a 6 cost, uninkable item, and it taps, and what does it do? 1 damage. 1 damage for 6 ink, uninkable. I can play a Tinkerbell and get so much more value and have a body on the board.
And it's inkable.
That I can defend myself against my opponents questing out on my face.
Yeah.
So it's what's the point of a lot of items? And so the
if
items...
it did 1 damage to every character on the opponent's side each turn, that'd be worth it. If it had Tink's effect each time, maybe.
Right, and then you're playing item removal tactically, you're like, hey, I'm going to remove that big thing you invested in, right? In the same way that you can play a Dragonfire on a big character they invested in. There's no difference there. I just think that they need to, I think that items themselves, if they're not going to give you draw engines, which I think is fine, I've had enough of item draw engines, then they should at least be more powerful for their cost, because they're not doing anything right now, by and large. Now, I think they moved in slightly the right direction. I really like this magic feather. I really like the way that they designed the magic feather. Like, there's a handful of scenarios where you're like,
use it.
It has, because it has an impact on the board. It's giving a trait to something. I think that they can move in that direction and make them a little bit more appealing that way.
Yeah.
But for now, item decks feel really dead in the water, and I may be proved wrong, but I've been trying to theory craft and put them together, and I just keep going. I'll spend 30 minutes tinkering with the deck and then look at it and be like, this is garbage. So who knows? Yeah. Anyways, moving on, let's go to Steel. Whole New World, we knew that was not coming back. We were glad. I am a well-known Whole New World hater.
Yeah.
Storm Rage On.
We were talking about that. It was Brian's fault.
Yeah, it was Brian's fault. Brian, if you're listening, traumatized me in like set
early
1
on.
or 2. Like really early on, when like we don't have enough, like not everybody has like all the cards they need, you know? And I distinctly remember our good friend and testing teammate Brian wheeling me like 6 times in a really grindy game to deck me out.
How do you get wheeled 6 times?
I was playing weight set. It must have been set 2.
Yeah.
I was playing weight set, and I'm playing all these big characters and then drawing cards and big character and drawing cards. And then he wheels me, and the reason he wheeled me multiple times, he kept playing those Lady Tremaines. Pull them back, wheel again. Pull them back, wheel again. And then decked me out. He did it like twice in a row, and I was just like, whoa, I hate this thing.
And that was when Ian hated it.
That's when I hated it.
That was the moment.
We also had to suffer through the heyday of Amber Steel songs with Wheel, and that was just always frustrating. So I am very happy to see Wheel gone.
Yep.
Storm is one that I've heard some people up and down on. I think it's not so much. So to hear this, rotating out meta-defining cards like these should freshen up metagame for Fabled and frees up design space for future Steel Damage songs. Now, they do confirm that there will be future Steel Damage songs. They say that. None will be in this set. Other than, I guess, Mob Song is technically a Steel Damage song.
Yeah, and Strength is coming back.
Strength, right. Yeah, so we had that confirmed. Zeus is not. Storm is not.
Yeah.
So those 3 were the trifecta of you never keep cards on your board. And that was a bummer because it was not because of any one thing, but it was because of how consistent it was to just wipe stuff off your board turn after turn after turn. And you could theoretically like, you just draw a card or 2 on a turn and hey, I found one. Hey, I found one. Yeah. And you just kind of like top deck your way through the game like that. And I think that Storm, especially being one that replaces itself, especially in the early game with these early shifts, they wanted to see that gone. I respect that. Now, I will say, I think they might have gone a little too far the other direction. I think they also confirmed Zeus was, like, shortly after, wasn't going to be back. I actually really think, like, Zeus maybe should be.
Yeah, I'm a little torn. I'm a little torn on Zeus.
Yeah.
Because it went from too many to none.
Yeah. Especially, again.
I mean, not none.
There's Fire the Cannons.
So Fire the Cannon still exists.
Yep.
And the Captain Hook that can pull back Fire the Cannons exists. So if you really are worried about not having enough removal.
There's ways to put little damage out there, like Double Trouble and Twin Fire, but they're not efficient.
To me, the big thing is Zeus was a healthy way to remove sharks. Tamatoas. Elsas, Genies. If you don't play evasives. Genie as well. Yep. And the other thing is that you could use Zeus on locations.
Yes.
And so Zeus was also in these steel decks. I mean, now granted, there's a lot of steel, overstated meat sticks in steel.
That's right, yes.
So I think that it's, I do think that will open up the game for some more unique building. Yeah. But I suspect that we will see some more steel damage removal songs in the future. Yeah. Some to make up for what I imagine will feel like a gap.
So I think I look at like some of the other steel removal actions that are non-songs, and I look at things like I I look at things like Baboom, and I'm like, this could have easily been a song. Or I look at things like Double Troubled, put 1 damage on 2 different things. That could have been a song. And I think that they would have been a little bit more, like we look at Twin Fires and Uninkable, deal 2 damage to something and discard a card to deal another 2 damage to something.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool if you have enough cards to supply it. If that was a song, it would still be worse than Storm, but reason to play it.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, and so I just kind of wish that we had like one more, even if it was really inefficient, one more steel removal song. I can't believe I'm saying this as a non-steel player.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Ruby. I think that this is the most contentious one. As a whole, or for you personally? No, as a whole. I think as a whole, this was contentious, and it'll lead into our next discussion. Sure. But they talked about how Sisu Empowered Sibling and Be Prepared would not be returning. They said this was a decision based on the strengths and weaknesses of Ruby. And moving forward, the team want to make the strength of Ruby more focused on single target removal. Right. They don't want to be the board wipe color anymore. Want to be the board wipe color anymore. Now, they didn't say who's going to be the board wipe color anymore.
The answer is green.
I don't see and we joke about this. I don't actually think that they think that.
I don't think they think it yet.
Maybe not. I wish they would have given us more to go on. Like, what do they see as a board wipe color? Like, if they think board wipe shouldn't be in the game, I would really love to hear the justification around that, because myself and a lot of other people with these board trading games know just how important it is for for board wipes to exist. And we'll talk about why that is. But anyways, I think the other thing about this that kind of rubs me the wrong way a little bit, and I say this as a Ruby player, especially Ruby Amethyst, they say they want the strength of Ruby to be more focused on single target removal, and then all of our single target removal that was playable got axed. There's no Brawl, no Maui, Hero to All,
no Madam,
not even Dragonfire. Dragonfire, if it was in the meta,
Dragonfire is gone.
Right,
I was gonna say I think that's the biggest swing and a miss on the devs' part.
They totally could have reprinted Dragonfire, and it would still be fine. Uninkable. 5-cost action.
They didn't even reprint Teeth.
They didn't reprint Teeth. It just was Be King Undisputed, and really, it's not. It is single target. It is single unit removal, but it's not even targeted.
Right?
You know what I mean? No Medusa, no Tremaine. No Brawl. I think I said that already. But I'm just looking at this and I'm going like, you say you want it to be single target removal, but it's not there. So what is the thought process? Like, they've printed these ridiculously expensive removal actions in red to kind of replace Dragonfire. They 7-cost banish a thing with a kicker effect usually. So it'll be like there's an uninkable 7-cost one, which is like gain a lore for each damage on a character, then banish them. Right? Okay, cool. So something that took 3 damage, you gain 3 lore, banish them. But for 7-cost uninkable, like, I'm never playing that in a deck. There is a 7-cost inkable action that just says banish a character. But boy, howdy, Ruby decks having to sit around for 7 turns to play that. It's not. I'm frustrated on this front. Because if they said that and then reprinted Hero to All or Medusa or Tremaine or Brawl, whatever, any of those, I guess technically they have Baby Sisu, but obviously we have nothing to shift onto it anymore.
Yeah, like, and you don't.
And
it's only,
Sapphire's
she's what, one
gutted.
cost? 1 strength or less?
1 strength or less.
Yeah, so like
it's hard to set up.
Right.
So I would have really appreciated if they had backed this claim with a little more oomph.
Yeah.
And said, hey, Ruby, we know you're bummed that your board wipes are gone, but you get Medusa back.
Yeah.
You know, hey, you get Hero to All back.
I really think Brawl, not reprinting Brawl, is a big whiff.
That's a whiff, for sure.
I think that there are so many characters, and I think, like, the game has moved... I think that the game has moved away from, like, 2-strength characters. Anyway, I think the game responded to Brawl in a healthy way. And so I feel like Brawl is very balanced.
Me too.
And so it is kind of a bummer to see it. And maybe it'll come back eventually.
It might. I honestly...
I suspect that we will see some of these single target removals come back. So.
I honestly was pretty sure Brawl was going to be reprinted because I viewed it as a core Ruby card. That's that's how I viewed it, as a core Ruby card, and it's not here. And you know, that's fine. It could have been any of them, is my point. It didn't have to be any one. It could have been any of them, and instead it was like, I feel like I'm saying none. Technically, Be King Undisputed, and I've won a set championship with Be King Undisputed, and it played great. But this is not the time for it. It was in a Ruby Amethyst list. It was set 4.
I was like, I believe you, but
it was during Bucky meta. Remember?
Yeah.
Sorry, you're just like outdrawing everything. You're just
Bucky meta.
You're just basically inking and passing unless you can draw. Yeah, that was a weird meta game. But yeah, that played Be King, and it performed really well. You know, you would sometimes be able to set up boards where you could force them to blow up their own Prince John.
Yeah.
You know, so that was cool. You know. But point is, that was very niche and it hasn't seen play since. You know, so it's like, oh man, none of our staple core removal cards got reprinted, and that's just a bummer because they then say, hey, you're the single target removal faction. Okay,
I like to imagine that's one of those things where it's like they get to the end and they're like, wait, you were supposed to do Brawl.
Yeah.
Wait.
I thought you were
gonna.
Oh, well, here's Sergeant Tibbs.
We give you a Sergeant Tibbs.
Yeah.
Do you know what we think they need? Another Steamboat Mickey.
Yeah, gosh. I mean, I understand that like some of these reprints are just going to be like filler.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and that's okay.
That's the game.
That's the game,
it's card
right?
Games.
So anyways, that is, and that's okay. But I wish it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it was a little too far in that direction. Now we say that saying I've had a lot of fun post rotation, but I just have some hesitations, right? And it's only been limited experience as decks begin to get refined and people figure out what the best of the best of the best is. You know, then things we might be noticing these lack of cards a little bit more. So, okay. So key takeaways here from this. Some of this we will have just said. Overall, way less removal.
Yeah, just way less removal.
Across the board. Every single color lost removal, except for Amber, which basically had none to begin with.
Yeah.
And so...
Zuko really wants to be in this video.
He does. He wants to be in the video. He's all right. So a lot less removal across the board. Less non-Amethyst card draw. Now, technically, Amethyst did lose some card draw, but then it also gained a great new card draw engine.
It lost Friends.
It lost Friends and Rabbit.
Yeah. But
it still has Library. It lost Chernobog's Followers and Magic Broom. So the one drops.
But it's still got Diablo. It's still got Library. It's got the new Dumbo, which
Finders
obviously
Keepers.
It's still got Finders Keepers. Yep. It's got Genie.
Yeah.
Amethyst is fine.
Amethyst is fine. I think Amethyst
and you've also got, I mean, you technically have Show Me More, which I understand hasn't gotten played because it gives your opponent 2 cards as well. You've got the Amethyst Chronicon. Like, there are other Amethyst draw
I think it's
cards.
safe to say that, like, if someone said, like, you have to pick one color to play for the entire set, every deck has to be this color, it would be like, Amethyst.
Yeah. You're going mono Amethyst this season?
If I had to go mono anything, it would be Amethyst.
It would be Amethyst.
If you were like, you have to play a mono-colored deck and everyone else is going to be playing mono-colored decks, I'm like, give me Amethyst 10 out of 10 times.
Can I just do it with Tipo and Sail, though, so that I can play a 4-drop on 3?
No. You have to play Amethyst the fair way like the rest of us.
Have to play a 3-drop.
There's only 1.5 board wipes. I actually should I'll even say 1.75 board wipes.
Yeah.
So there's Under the Sea. The 0.5 is the Jasmine, the Shift Jasmine Royal Commodore. It should be on people's... I'm putting y'all on notice.
Yeah. You heard it here first, folks.
You heard it here first. And actually, you would have heard it here a month or two ago when I kind of highlighted that Jasmine might be in store for a sort of a moment in the sun. Snatch up your Jasmines now. I'm actually kind of serious.
The legendary one. She's legendary,
She's a legendary, but she's like dirt cheap right now. But like, it's really the only other, board wipe.
Do we have a playset?
We do, yes. Come on now. Come on now.
I don't manage the inventory.
And then the extra 0.25, I think it's worth throwing out there is Triple Shot Mulan.
Yeah.
That's another card that if you don't have your play set, maybe snatch it up. I'm sure the price has gone up a bit. Don't let what happened to Tiana happen to you. Like Tiana went from like $1 to $5 to $20 in 2 days.
Yeah.
So we found out that we apparently did not replace the Tianas that we gave to a friend.
We traded ours away.
So great. Weird.
Oops.
Whoops. So anyways.
No Tianas for us.
I would probably snatch those up just to be safe because they at least were cheap. I don't know what they are now. So 1.75 board wipes.
Yeah.
Mulan is technically not a board wipe, but obviously if you can get the shift and swing, you're basically killing 3 things, like every time. And then with all of that said, I've heard a lot of discussion, and I'm curious to hear what you think about this and what you've seen. A lot of people seem to have a lot of theories around like, well, without board wipes, aggro's going to go crazy. Aggro's going to go crazy. I've heard a lot of doomsayers out there, going, well, the game's gonna die. The game's gonna suck with no board wipes. What is your take on that?
Look, I've been playing a control deck against aggro with no board wipe for 3 sets now, and I haven't had a problem. Yeah. So I think, well, and also like we talked about this offline, but like a lot of the hyper aggro, the like 2 questing 1-drops, a lot of those crazy questing cards have rotated out. And those didn't get reprinted. So I think that like some of these hyper aggro cards have rotated out. I do think like, I agree that like board wipe is a healthy, especially B prep. I think B prep is healthy for the game. But I think that like, we're really going to see, I think you could really see some control decks come back. Yep. You're just going to have to play smarter and you're going to have to play earlier. Like you can't just sacrifice the board. That's my whole strategy when I'm playing a Blurple, even against I can lose really quick if I miss a 1-drop and I miss a Tipa. Like if you have no characters on board to participate, but I think you're gonna have to shift the way you play and maybe build decks. But I think that control still has a place. I think mid-range, we're about to see mid-range go crazy.
Well, and I think that is actually, if I have a concern about anything, I think my concern is that there won't be, so a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, we did a whole lesson, a whole coaching corner on the X and Y axis that is slow and fast, proactive and reactive, right? And so we kind of talked about how every deck exists somewhere on that axis, but you have these larger archetypes which tend to move in one direction or another. You talk about control, and by nature, control almost always goes slow. Like almost exclusively goes slow, right? Because it's spending its time not advancing its own game position, but it's spending its time denying the opponents, right? Aggro almost always goes fast. Why? Because it's focusing on winning the game as fast as possible. These are things. But then we also have to look at the fact that on that's the x-axis, right? And slow, fast. But reactive and proactive, if we look at your Blurple deck, and which one could argue, depending on the build, that it could be viewed as control.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And if you then look...
I would probably argue, the version that I've been playing is more, it leans heavier on the control. Right.
And then if you look at a deck that's more like Ruby Sapphire, especially like items, to be honest, but even Ruby Sapphire... like Sisu and Ice back in the day.
Yeah,
let's call that. That was an extremely reactive control deck.
Yeah.
It's sitting back, it's building its resources, it's not putting things out there until you put something out there, and then it's trying to blow that up. And it's only until the end of the game when you're out of resources that it bothers to play things to quest for game or play dimes in that case. But like, and that was always...
Quest out over 1 to 2 turns.
Right. It's trying to close the game fast over a couple turns once you've run them out of resources, right? But like, if Blurple becomes, and I think there's a chance for this, if Blurple becomes the best proactive control deck, right? Or really, even if we thought of it as a mid-range deck, which I think it is often built more like a mid-range, but it can play more control-y.
Yeah.
But like it's always proactive because you're always, the only way you can answer things is by putting things on the board.
Right.
You have these amazing ways to remove things, but it only works if you're building a board that can trade into things and then push the damage over with the bells and tap things down with the Elsas and trade into them, right? Yeah. That's how it wins. And that's a very proactive strategy. You can't wait for them to do stuff. You have to be building up your ability to interact with their board. And I think that like, right now, the lack of board wipes board wipes actually aren't that good against aggro. Yeah. Yes, sometimes a ramp deck can use it. They can turbo ramp themselves. They can go, TPO into, how far I'll go into another TPO and get to 7 really fast and then blow up the whole board against an aggro deck. Yeah. But that is rare, and more common result is that aggro deck closes the game before the ramp deck can get to a board wipe, right? And certainly in the case of something like Ruby Amethyst, it was like, hey, we have always had these board wipes, but once aggro decks got fast enough, we had to start playing early game because we knew we couldn't sit around and wait on it. Right? So board wipes don't actually exist to counter aggro. Board wipes exist to counter mid-range. Board wipes exist to stop like proactive mid-range decks from just snowballing a board state. Because if you look at how Blurple often wins, it's like, okay, I played Tipo, I ramped, now I'm playing Genie into Elsa, into Belle, into Tamatoa, into Hades, and all of these things have 4+ health. Yep. All of these things quest for multiple lore. None of these things die quickly to a storm or die quickly to a strength unless they have a huge board. And you're snowballing by you're removing their stuff, you're building your stuff, you're healing it, you're creating this unbeatable board state that the only way that you can beat it is
a board wipe.
That's what we're missing, and that's where my concern is that these mid-range decks like Blurple, maybe like Amethyst Steel, depending, maybe Ruby Amethyst, it's hard to tell yet which one will be the slowest of the mid-range decks, because there's some really fast mid-range decks that are just going to bully aggro. Like, honestly, Amethyst Steel can really bully any aggro deck very effectively. But then, if that becomes a thing where like mid-range is pushing all the aggro out, like I suspect it will, because aggro is also slower. We have to remember that too.
Right, aggro slowed down.
Right. Then I think the more likely scenario is it's going to be everybody's going to be playing variants of mid-range, and the best decks in format are going to be the mid-range decks that can draw the most and play the most threats, and they know that they can play recklessly and go wide for forever because they don't have to play around the board wipe. Yes. There's so many times where you are playing against a Ruby Sapphire or Ruby Amethyst deck, and you're like, I want to close this game.
We gotta tease it out.
Or I really want to get greedy and play my second Bell and wipe this off the board, but you're on 6 ink. Yeah. And I maybe should hold this back and respect your. Now you don't have to respect
Turn for Finders Keepers.
Right.
You don't have to. I mean, in the same way that when I turn around and I know that I'm playing against Emerald Amethyst or another Blurple deck, you're like, oh, I know your weakness. You don't have a board wipe. Right. So arguably Monstro is the closest thing we have to a board wipe in.
Yeah. I guess you can argue Monstro is the extra 0.25.
Yeah, Monstro could be a board wipe.
He could be a 0.25 of a board wipe.
He feels like a board wipe in...
Only really in Blurple.
Only really in Blurple because you can ram to him fast enough.
And you have the cards.
And you have the cards still in your hand to be able to use him. Yeah. So... That's
our take on the meta. Yeah. I mean,
we could talk about this all day.
And we've been talking about this a lot over the last few days. So, but I do think we should move on to the next segment.
Yeah, let's talk through these lists you've got here.
Yeah. Well, first one I know you're real excited about and familiar with.
I sure am. Yeah. We love to see 1-drops back in Blurple. Thrilled about the Rafiki reprint. I think it's a great card. I think I've only done very limited testing with it. I love that Elsa Spirit of Winter is reprinted to get her back in the game. The Ana, it's funny. I tested the Ana a little bit last set and couldn't quite get it to work. And again, my list was the choice was Ana or Foxes, and I wasn't going to let go of my
Right.
emotional support Foxes, but now I have no choice. So, but I think the biggest difference is it's really going to change some things is Dumbo. We hinted at that. Blurple runs a pretty decent amount of evasives, and then with the inclusion of the feather, being able to give things, I can't wait to give Monstro evasive.
Yeah, give him the feather. Yeah. Oh.
I tested Pan's Shadow for a while just so I could give Monstro evasive.
Yeah.
So the ability to give some of these cards evasive, I think is going to be crazy. Combining that with the draw engine it replaces Friends.
Yes, in many ways, yeah.
We certainly draw a lot of cards. I know, and the other inclusion is Develop instead of and we've talked about this, would love to know your thoughts whether a Diablo, the baby Diablo, is better than Develop. Arguably late game, you'd be more excited to see a Develop to dig a little deeper rather than I need a top deck, I need a body that's going to stick.
I think, so in the late
guaranteed
game,
a card.
In the late game, Develop is definitely better. Diablo was great against when you had to go under the red-blue decks. Yeah. Or race them potentially. Yep. Then Diablo's great because when they board wipe, you get cards back. And you can cash it in. You can quest for one kind of ruthlessly. I think that Develop is going to feel better because you're probably the apex predator now. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're probably the top of the food chain from the control perspective. And so, what do you...
You've got time to develop your brain.
Right. Well, and again, when you're looking for a specific answer at the end of the game, I really need a Hades. I really need a monster. I really need Elsa. Develop gets you more cards into your deck. And then the other thing, too, is as a one cost, especially when you're on the play, and you don't really need to develop a one drop when you're on the play, the ability to, hopefully fill in your curve or find ramp if you missed ramp after the altar. I think Develop could make a lot of sense here. It remains to be seen. Obviously it's a blue deck, so you also could find room for vision, which could be really good. And a lot of whatever the deck that's the slowest or the most controlling decks in the formats tend to run vision because they're I need a very, very specific answer to deal with something. So maybe that finds its way in. I think the cool thing, and this is sort of our hybrid, our amalgamation, what we think could be good, and we're trying a lot of different things, Into the Unknown. Yeah. I think because again, we've talked about how few removal options there are. I think that makes them even more valuable in this format. Yeah. I also think...
with both Elsas to tap things down to be able to then sing Into the Unknown. Yeah. Pretty great.
Yeah, well, and I also think the big Elsa, you shouted it out, and I actually saw this hit the board at League, and what sort of stuck out to me was, one, it was really cool because it felt like everybody's playing these reckless go wide moves. They know there's not a board wipe, and people already do that against Blurple, but it's even better now. And so it's hey, sometimes Hades isn't quite enough. Yeah. I noticed that happened a few times in games, both against Hades and with Hades. I'm oh, I have the Hades. It's great. You have to play Hades. But I actually think stopping two things from questing would be better
slowing things
here.
Down to stop them from questing is huge.
So we might see Elsa's start to, if not add on to the Hades, maybe replace the Hades, a cleaner split. Maybe we'll run more copies of...
Could be 3 and 2.
It could be 3 and 2. It could be 4 and 2. I could see this happening. Obviously, the shift is really nice. The other card that I'm interested to see if it pans out is the Donald. I'm seeing that pop up in Sapphire Steel decks a lot, which we don't have that here. We just have 4 decks today that we're going to look at. And by the way, we will probably do we're going to try to put a post-rotation deck up for every color combination. I don't know if we'll get the whole squad in for that. It might just be me, but we're going to get the decks out because I actually think that almost every color has a potentially top-tier deck. It probably won't all end that way. Sure. And I think that even the colors that I'm not that high on, there's probably a way to play it. So I'm excited to dive into that. But anyways, back to this. Blurple, I think there's a lot of wiggle room. It will probably change a lot, especially as we know what we have to worry about in the metagame. But to start, I actually just am really, I think to your point, I am excited to see the Rafikis back in the list. I do think that they're going to really help deal with aggro. Yeah. And to your point, last set wasn't a very aggro-heavy set. It was really just the Amber Steel, and that deck doesn't have reach, so if you could stabilize, you don't have to worry.
Right.
If aggro is more prevalent, Rafiki probably stays in. If aggro gets phased out, maybe it's
Might
gone.
not need him.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, well, let's talk about your bread and butter.
Yes. Grurple.
Which Ian's trying to make happen.
It's totally going to catch on. Grurple.
Grurple.
If you get Blurple, I want Grurple.
Blurple is fun to say.
Grurple.
Grurple feels...
Grurple. No, it's fun. Grurple.
Okay.
It's fun. It's fun. So this is what I've been messing with the Emerald Amethyst, and I still don't know the numbers on everything. And I think that that's normal at this phase, but it's like, it feels especially confusing here. Because I'm like, this seems crazy. Like, do we even need Ursula right now? Because there's not actually that many songs running around. In a set or two, we absolutely will. Right now, maybe not. I was talking to some people that are cutting Pete from decks because they're like, what do I have to worry about? I'm not likely to play the Pete at the perfect time to stop a strength. Right. So what's the point? I'll run something better. So there's some conversation around that happening. Is there need to be a Diablo Go-Go split? I don't know. Do Iagos belong in the list at all now that we don't have Pan? I don't know. But I will tell you what does work in this deck. This new green genie is cracked. It is insane.
Oh yeah, it is.
It is so good. Because it's not just setting up some really good board trades, which we were missing that kick that we have with things like Cricky and Crab. But it's also, it's protecting your stuff from getting ruthlessly traded into when they slap down rush characters and things like that. The ability for you to play this genie on 4, quest with it on turn 5, and then play an Elsa that will tap something down and swing with 4 power is really, really gross. The ability to because it's not just on your turn, it's also on their turn while it's exerted. If they don't have answers to genie, you're going to be sitting there with your Diablos that now all of a sudden just statically have 2 power. Oh man, my Rafikis, which had 0 power, now they statically have 2 power. My Lewis has 6 power. Holy cow. You can trade into things more aggressively. Their trades into your stuff feels worse. It's really cool. And the inclusion that I've been really psyched about is this Cogsworth. And I've been including it in a lot of purple decks. This Cogsworth coming in and giving your Iago's Rush on turn 5, right? Them coming down and giving your Genie Rush so that you can get into play, smack into something that's little, and survive it, hopefully. And then turn on all of your other things, so now your characters, like Lewis, can smack into a location with 6 power, or can clear a Hades. I was able to do that yesterday, where a Hades had been exerted. I go, Genie, Cogsworth, rush the Genie into a dock. It takes the damage, but now my Lewis goes up to 6 strength, and I clear a Hades.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Bell is probably in the list. I probably want to, after playing, I think I want to put maybe a 3rd in there somewhere. Obviously we have the pull the lever, wrong lever combination. I'm not, without Diablos to shift to dump pull the levers in the discard pile, I'm not 100% if I want all 4 wrong levers still in the deck, but Mother Knows Best coming back in here to replace the Bruno from last set. And I think it would be better than Bruno, even if Bruno was on the table. I think it would be better in this deck. So a lot of cool stuff to work with. The tools are there. It's just about finding the right numbers. Really, really hyped, especially after testing it a lot last night.
Yeah. Really
hyped about this list. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to...
I love Cogsworth getting his moment in the sun.
Cogsworth for real getting his moment, and I think that will be a thing in some decks this set. We're going to move on to emotional damage.
Yeah.
This is Gibby and I's sort of project over the last really 2 sets, but especially last set when it was the aggro killer early in the set.
It's true. It did. Emotional damage was very popular on Dreamborn there for a minute.
It was. Gibby's list on Dreamborn was popping off. I think it's funny because not a lot of new cards enter it, but because of the cards we have to replace and in context to the rest of the meta, I think it got a lot better. I think this has serious top tier competitive potential, especially if no reactive control deck rises up. I think this deck can just be like a huge set championship and big tournament contender. That's a lot of ifs, I know, but the core package of it is really consistent. Like, you have the ability to play these card soldiers and Mulans with both in different ways, set up what you're trying to do later in the game around turns like 3 and 4.
Right.
On turn 2, you have sticky bodies with Tiny Mim and the Queen of Hearts sensing weakness, both of which survive the Madame Medusa on 3, which I think is going to be the strongest turn 3 play, or one of the strongest turn 3 plays in the game in this set, because of the ability to put damage into play on one of your characters when in a deck that you want damage in play, and then completely void your opponent's turn 2.
Yeah.
Your opponent's 2-drop is going right back to their hands, and it's advancing what you want to do. It's turning your Queen of Hearts into a 4/2, and now all of a sudden that's taking out a Daisy Duck.
Yep.
This deck is going to be incredible on the draw against aggro. If you're not against aggro, you can develop things like Prince John, which is going to sit there and accumulate damage whenever they play things, so that you can start pushing it all over on turn 4 with Panic and Bell, which don't care if something's evasive. They don't care if something's exerted or not. You can just push that damage right over to them. And then, of course, you are ideally moving damage off of your Mulans or weaving them into your game plan, because not only do you have the Shift Mulan, which you're loving to do these, 25% of a board wipe.
Yeah.
But you also have like an extra way to set up, like everybody's got a weakness, which becomes a pretty effective card draw.
Right.
The ability to move damage, so it's removal and a card draw all in one. We've got libraries in there. I don't know if those will stay, but this really has the hallmarks of a devastating mid-range deck.
For sure.
And you can kind of ink the things in certain matchups. If they're never giving you something to challenge, you can ink the Mother Gothels.
Yeah.
If they're putting things in play and exerting them, Mother Gothel is one of the best cards in the game in this deck, because you have enough damage to fuel it.
Right.
You can run your Prince John into something, it takes damage, you push the damage off. There's just so much you can do with it. I have put the Magic Feathers in there because I think it doesn't quite have enough evasive in it.
Yeah.
Obviously it has Genie and Elsa, but that's not enough against certain decks, like Blurple, like Emerald Amethyst, so I kind of wanted to have that as an out. It also would be really nice to be able to put that on a shifted Mulan late in the game.
Sure, yeah.
Before running it into something. So that's emotional damage. Lindsay, you've played against this.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's funny to go against it because I have my own ways of healing and moving damage. Well, Blurple at
has
this
nice
point
answers to it.
Has nice answers to
did.
it. It did. I was going to say with popsicles to heal damage.
Yeah.
But I think it's really interesting. It does change the way you have to think about how you approach the deck. You have to be smart about. It's not just like, can they challenge into me? It's, can they move? Is there enough damage to move? It's kind of like having to learn how to play around a Rapunzel. All of a sudden, you have to learn how to play around this. So
that's a great point, because that was a hard counter.
Yeah.
Because you want to push the damage and leave it in play,
but you can't. So
yeah.
I do think it'll be really interesting to see how it shakes up. I think it really will. I think this is what they want Ruby. Amethyst to be, clearly.
I think it is.
I think it'll be cool to see how it shakes up.
Yeah, although to be fair, all of the removal in that is Amethyst, though. All the single target removal is Amethyst.
Not Ruby. Yeah, different Madame Medusa.
Just saying, yeah. All right, so...
Just talking to you, Devs. No,
that's right. I didn't say anything. Please give us a card reveal. I also want to throw this deck in there. This one I have not tested that much. So full disclosure, I plan to. I'm really excited about it. I brewed it up recently. I didn't get a chance to play it at League. I've kind of fishbowled it a little bit, but that's it. I just wanted to show off the new cards because there's not a lot of them.
This is a really great example of the new cards,
yes.
I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of new cards.
Yeah.
So
it's great to see the singers, the red singers.
Yeah, I want to show them because I think I think most of the new cards are good.
Yeah.
And cool and have a chance. And so Powerline being kind of the premier one that they've really shown off a lot. The Powerline shift line having two great shift targets feels amazing. Obviously, at the Singer 4...
Almost Fox.
Yeah, we get an almost Fox in the power line that if you've sung a song. So that's what we're doing. We've got redundancy on turn 2 with Vanessa to supplement the power line as a Singer 4. We have... On turn 3, we have Powerline. We also have the Calhoun, which seems weird in here because we don't care about racers. But it's all about dumping cards into the discard pile, specifically like big things like Maui and Maleficent, because we're hoping to get them back later with Circle of Life. One of the things that's really neat here is I'm playing, and I don't know, this might be too harebrained. I'm playing the ukulele. I'm testing the ukulele. Yeah. The thought process here is you don't have a 1-drop that you're really amped to play in either of these colors if you're not aggro, right? So it's like, okay, well, what do I want to play? Naveen's ukulele, you can sit it on the board on turn 1 and then like sit on it all game. Yeah. Like all game you can be sitting on it. And then all of a sudden...
It's there when you need it.
If you have a Lilo in play and you're like, oh, I just drew Circle of Life, let me pop this ukulele, give Lilo +3 Singer, and now I can hit the Circle of Life. So we're hoping to put in Maleficent Dragons.
Pull that Shark or that Maleficent that you threw into the discard.
Exactly.
Turn 1 or 2.
Yeah. And to help put things in the discard pile, we have Chip. We have Dale, the other one. And we have Robin Hood. I don't know the numbers on these things. The Calhoun, the Dale, the Robin Hood. I got to figure out which one's better at getting things in the discard pile in time for us to sing Circle of Life. But obviously, it's not just Circle of Life. We have a lot of like great songs to sing. Be Our Guest and Look at This Family for card draw. Right, we have Be King Undisputed and Pirate's Life here. As you know, one is removal, sort of. One is Pirate's Life, obviously slowing the game way down. And then for late game removal, I guess this is the single target removal is Maleficent Dragon. I guess there it is.
There it is.
Yeah, the devs have been yelling at the screen. The one dev that bothered to listen to this silly little podcast.
The original single target removal. Yeah, I guess Dragonfire was the original single target removal.
Yeah. But I'm really excited about this. Powerline is going to be good in some deck. I don't know that this is going to be the best Powerline deck, but this is the one I was most excited for because the concept of bringing Maleficent Dragons into play for free from Circle of Life is just too tempting to pass up.
I love it.
So yeah, that's the last one.
We didn't get a Mufasa to have the surprise dragon.
The Mufasa high roll,
the Mufasa high roll deck. So I think that I'm excited to see this. Love to see the Ruby Amethyst Ruby Amber combo back in play.
And with a ukulele of all things.
With a ukulele.
Actually, I'll throw this one little combo out there. Ukulele on 1, Powerline or Vanessa on 2, pop ukulele, sing Look at This Family. Yeah. And then put a new 2-drop Singer 4 into play.
There you go.
Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like if you're desperate for characters in your hand and you have the time to dig, like it's not an aggro deck. And the thing is, if it is an aggro deck, that Rush Powerline is going to do a lot of work for you.
It is. It really is.
So yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. Conceptually, this is so far from refined. But let me know in the comments, like, what do you think of this list? What do you think are ways to refine it? Any cards that I'm like missing that feels like they must be in here? Let me know, and I'm going to be testing a lot of this. So, yeah. Those are our 4 decks. We will have more.
Oh, yeah.
In the future.
Maybe that's what we should just do next episode. We should talk through some of the decks.
I think we'll probably just keep doing this over the next few weeks.
Yeah.
But Lindsay,
We've got plenty of time.
We do have a few things slated for the future. Do you want to walk us through the next episode and get us out of here?
All right, so the next episode it'll be pre-release. So we will talk early Fabled meta. We'll talk some more deck lists that we're seeing, and some ways to onboard new players. So Ian's been fiddling around with some like theme decks for new players that literally like came out of our bulk stock that will be post-rotation friendly. Budget friendly, post-rotation friendly. So, you know, if you've been wanting to get that card playing buddy of yours into Lorcana, but just didn't want to because it was too expensive or whatever the reason was, now is a great time. I think that rotation will be I mean, I think it's a rotation of adding new people into the game. So I suspect that there will be a lot more people getting in. So
yeah. We'll dive more into that, but I do think it's also a great way to teach with these decks. So yeah.
So that's all she wrote, folks.
Yeah.
So don't forget to follow us, subscribe, comment, do all of the things, smash that like button, whatever
that's what the YouTubers say. I think that's what they say.
Yeah, you can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts, or you can watch us here on YouTube. So share it with friends, share it with your new Lorcana, the people that are new to Lorcana.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
That's right. We are here for the local communities first and foremost, and helping people build community and helping people, get into the game or help their friends get into the game, which I think is a lot of the content here for us. That's what we spend a lot of time doing. So
what keeps the game going is a local community. So we're here to support that.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will get on out of here, but thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on the next one. Bye.